That is Aaron Lines on 790 CFCW. It's 3:32 with Stella Stevens. In case you just tuned into CFCW and you're thinking, oh darn, I missed that interview at 3:15 with Johnny Reid. No, you didn't. Johnny Reid came a little bit late and he joins us right now. Thank you so much, Johnny, for coming in today.
Absolutely, it's nice to be here.
Now, I know we have everything decked out and decorated here in the studio for St. Patrick's Day.
Yeah.
I know you're Scottish. Is there, a rift there between the Scottish and the Irish, or are you okay with the decorations?
Not at all, no. The Scots and Irish are good comrades. You know, my mother's part Irish, so I sort of grew up in a household with Irish and Scots and a bunch of other people that like to drink and have a good time.
Not only do the Scottish and Irish like to have a good time, but you guys also have a bit of a temper. You're known for having a bit of a temper, are you not?
Yes, actually my wife, her father is Irish, you know. So when we get married, there was a lot of Irish and a lot of Scots, and one guy came up to me and said that if we ever had kids, which we have 4 of them, but he said if you ever have kids, they're probably going to be big drinkers but too cheap to buy it.
And they all have fairly good attitudes. They're happy-go-lucky.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Is that how you would describe yourself, as happy-go-lucky?
Me? I just sort of enjoy the day for what the day brings me. You know what I mean? I've always had sort of a positive attitude about things. Why not? You know, it's like we're only given a short amount of time in life, so you might as well make the most of it. You know what I mean, Stella?
And here you are, making the most of it. You're already working on album number 7, Fire It Up. It's in stores this week. Congratulations!
Thank you so much. Yeah, the album came out on Monday, so you know it's been out for a couple of days, and the response has been incredible. And yet again, I'm just humbled by the amount of people that go out there and support my music.
I know there's a track on this album called Fire It Up, but why did you call the album Fire It Up?
You know, it just seemed like the right title. There's a few songs on there. There's a song called Dedicated to You. That was in the running for the title for the album. And there's another song called Let's Have a Party. That was in the running. But at the end of the day, the record is probably just a true reflection of what my life has been for the last couple of years, and it's been very positive. It's been full of love and you know, excitement and everything else. So I just felt like Fire It Up just seemed like the right title for the album. You know, it really sort of evoked thoughts of passion, and the other reason I called it that is because on the front cover you'll see Stella, there's a piano that's on fire, and I've always sort of felt that my gift to the world is music. You know, that's my fire. That's the fire that I can burn in this world to lighten it up a little bit. You know, so it's almost sort of an invitation of sorts to everybody to sort of find the fire within them and to let it burn as brightly as possible.
So that's the symbolism. I was wondering, I thought maybe there was something about you that we didn't know, and maybe you're under investigation for being, I don't know, a bit of a firebug? A
firebug, yeah. No, it was a wonderful day actually when we did the photo shoot for the album, because there was just so many people involved, and we actually, you know, I know a lot of your listeners live out in acreages and farms, and that actually took place out on a farm, and we built a huge bonfire and basically stood around and took pictures the whole night, and then as soon as we were done we enjoyed the fire, and everybody enjoyed a few beverages and enjoyed the night.
And so, made s'mores.
And made s'mores, yeah, it was wonderful.
Who got to light the match?
Who got to light the match? Oh, there was no match involved, it was just strictly diesel.
Oh, that is just awesome. Johnny Reid is in our studio. Later on, you're going to be performing at the Ice Palace. That performance comes up at 6. Last year, you won the CCMA for the top-selling album for A Place Called Love. Are you hoping to do the same with this album? Do you put pressure on yourself like that?
You know, I really don't, Stella. I never get into the music business for awards or you know, tour buses or magazines or billboards. You know, I get into the music business because as a wee boy, I started singing and people paid attention to me, and I could see that I could make a difference. So if I'm fortunate enough to pick up that award again, then so be it. But the people have never let me down, and I've sort of always tried my best never to let them down. You know, so we'll see what happens. I'm not exactly sure what's in the cards. It's only been out for a couple of days, so we'll see.
How do you ground yourself? You're so humble.
I've got 4 kids still. You know, I'll tell you a funny story. I was on the Genie Awards the other night. I was standing backstage with a guy called Jason Priestley, who you might know for 90210, and we're having a chat backstage. and it was my turn to go up and kick off the Genie Awards in Toronto, and about 10 seconds before the award, my BlackBerry buzzed, and I picked her up, and what it said was, "Where is the plunger?" so you know, when people ask me, how do you stay grounded, I mean, you know, these are the kind of things that keep me grounded, you know.
Now you talk about your music. I know a lot of musicians feel that their music is therapeutic and you like to give to the world. So on Facebook yesterday, I told people I was interviewing you, and I asked them to give me questions, to supply me with questions, and I was surprised by the response. I thought they were going to ask silly questions, but they didn't. I'll have to ask the silly questions a little bit later on, like your favorite potato chip, because it is National Potato Chip Day. But Rose said to me, "Tell Johnny Reid thank you for his song, 'This Is Not Goodbye.' As a funeral celebrant, I have seen the comfort it gives to people grieving the loss of a loved one."
Wonderful, yeah. You know, I hear these stories every concert, Stella. This is the connection that I've had with people from the very beginning. You know, as much as I like to try and put messages in my music, and I try and make music that somehow is therapeutic for other people, if the truth be told, the music is very therapeutic for me as well, because the things that I'm going through in my life are the exact same things that other people go through in theirs. Love, the celebration of love, or the loss of love, you know, and so it's no surprise to me that there is people out there just like me finding some sort of peace in the music that I'm writing. So thank you, Rose. That's a wonderful, wonderful statement and question.
Nicole wrote also the same thing. "Thank you. He gave me and my mom a better relationship through his music and his concert last year. It meant the world to us to be able to see him live together for a mother-daughter night."
Yeah. Well, it's amazing that, you know, every time I step on stage, you know, I've always sort of tried to put on a show that everybody can come see, you know, and last year it was wonderful. We had 4 generations in the front row, just outside of Winnipeg. There was a granddaughter, there was the great-granddaughter, the granddaughter, the daughter, and then the mother.
Yeah.
And it was amazing, you know. So it's hats off to all the people that surround me still, you know. We have a real family environment on the road, and the show is sort of focused in that way. So.
Is that your cell phone? Do you want to check it?
No, it's
for
actually
your...
one of your guys. I usually turn my phones off before interviews.
I just thought maybe the toilet was backed up again or something.
Yeah, no.
Well, I wanted to ask you something as well, because this is album number 7, as we said, Fire It Up. Album number 1 came out back in 1997. Can you tell us how you got your first big break, or when did your first big break happen to you? Because it seems like you've been in this business a very long time.
You know, I've had many breaks along the ways. You know, I would love to be able to sit here and say that there was a definitive moment in my career that sort of changed everything for me, but there really wasn't. It's been a true journey, and I've just been very fortunate to be able to have met some wonderful people across the country. I've went from Vancouver Island to Newfoundland more times than I can count, and every time I've done so, I've met some incredible people. And you know, when we come to Edmonton and we put 10,000 people in that run, these are probably 10,000 people at some point in my career that I've probably met. You know what I mean? So that's sort of how I've been able to, you know, that's really the key. I would say if people look at my career as successful, I would imagine that would be the key to success for me, is the relationships that I've been able to build with the people across this country.
Okay, so I'm going to ask you the silly questions now. I saw you on E.T. Canada with Cheryl Hickey.
Yes.
Cheryl Hickey is beautiful, is she not?
She's absolutely beautiful. She really is. Not only on the outside, but on the inside also. She was, when we were there, she had just got back for a vacation in Florida with her husband and her baby, and she was just an absolute treat to speak to.
I say that because I noticed something, and I don't know if she noticed it on you. Normally when you do interviews, you wear the scarf around your neck, but you weren't wearing the scarf, so I noticed something on your neck, because your shirt was kind of open a bit there, and I kind of see it creeping out right now. Is that a tattoo?
Yeah, it is. I've got a few tattoos. You know, this tattoo that I have here, it symbolises my family. It's a family tree that goes from it's just underneath my elbow, up on my shoulder. And that's what you're seeing, is you're seeing one of the wings of the birds that sit in the tree, and each bird represents one of my babies.
And don't worry, we will ask him to take his shirt off. We will take pictures and we will
You
post
don't
that
want to
up
see
on
that. See, I don't think
CFCW.com.
790C FCW is ready for that.
Oh, trust me, I think we are. Album is called Fire It Up. What fires you up? What do you get excited about?
I get excited, you know, about coming to places like this. I mean, the chance to meet people I've never met before, the chance to sing for people that have never heard me sing before. So tonight's going to be great. I mean, to be able to stand in West Edmonton Mall, sing a few songs, tell a few stories, and above all, say thank you to all the people that have already shown their support by going out there and picking up my new record.
A lot of your fans feel that your music is very romantic as well. So what was the last romantic thing you did for your wife? Besides tell her where the plunger was.
Well, you know, it depends on your level of romance. The last thing I did romantic for my wife, well, I left about 5 days ago. So when I left, I sat in the airport and I called up the local florist and I had him deliver a bunch of flowers to the house just to say I'm going to miss you, because this has been I've been able to be home for the past several months making this record. So you know, we're getting ready to go through that cycle again, where I have to leave her and the kids for a few months, and that's going to be tough on me, but I know it's especially going to be tough on them. So I would say that's probably the last romantic thing I did. Yeah.
It is National Potato Chip Day. What type of potato chips do you like to eat?
Oh, Worcestershire sauce potato chips, and you can get them in Scotland. I know it sounds really bad, but they're really, really good. There's a company over there called Golden Wonder, and they make Worcestershire sauce potato chips, and they're amazing.
I've never heard of that. I thought
I'll bring you next time I go there. I'll get you a bag, and I will send it to Larry.
Okay, today is also National Pi Day, as in 3.14. It's a math thing. So
Yeah.
when your kids come home with homework, who helps them with homework? You or the wife?
Google helps my kids with homework a lot. That's my wife and I. You know, one thing that I mean, my wife and I both graduated for university, but one thing that we're learning very quickly is that kids are becoming a lot smarter these days. You know, so they'll come in and they'll ask me a question, and I'll look at my wife, and she'll look at me, and you know, our good friend Google usually answers that.
All right, next month you begin your tour. You're going to be away from your family. You're coming back to Edmonton April 19th. Rexall Place, a much bigger venue than the Jubilee Auditorium. You know, it was 4 sold-out shows last time, so it makes sense to do it at Rexall Place. How does the dynamics of your show change and the relationship with your audience in a much bigger venue like that?
No, Stella, that's a great question. I'm not exactly sure. You know, I loved playing the Jubilee so much. It was beautiful because I felt like I could reach out and touch somebody, you know. However, the one thing that I've done with this tour is the production is I'm bringing in a lot of production, and hopefully the amount of production that I'm bringing in for the show is going to enable me to still reach out and touch that person that's sitting in the last row of that arena. So, you know, I'm going to go up there and I'm going to sing my heart out, and I'm going to be very thankful for the people that showed up, and I'm hoping that everybody has a wonderful time. I know that you know, we have a full tour across the country, but Edmonton has a special place in my heart, and it's definitely a place that I'm looking forward to coming back to April 19th.
Carolyn Dawn Johnson is going to be heading out on the road with you, and she has a song on here with you on Fire It Up. Can you tell us about that before we let you go?
Absolutely, yeah. I wrote a song called Baby I Know It, and I wrote it as a duet. To be honest, I wasn't really sure if I was even going to put it on the record. And then I started really thinking about it, and one of the very first people who ever gave me the opportunity to open up for her many, many years ago was Carolyn Dawn Johnson. And I thought how fitting it would be to call Carolyn and ask her if she'd be, you know, gracious enough to sing on my record. She came to the studio. She loved the track. She said, "When do you want to do this?" I said, "What about right now?" So, sure enough, in the studio, bam, got the vocal, and what you hear is how she sang it. She's an incredibly talented woman, and I feel very fortunate to be able to share the microphone with her.
I could keep you in the studio all afternoon listening to your sexy accent, as I'm sure many of our female listeners would love to listen to your voice too, but I know you're in a hurry. Have a fantastic time today at the Ice Palace.
I truly appreciate it. Thank you to the station, yourself, and everybody that's listening.